It's that funky side guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live 5, the Loopy Network, Rumble X, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in IA Newswire on Rumble, Roy Blecker, check us all out on that. Hopefully we'll have investigative reporter C.C. Woods coming up later at the bottom of the hour when we join the Mighty Met KMET. She'll be talking about the corruption in California, the Bonner crime family, Dana the Hammer Williamson, Gulag, Gavin Newsom, and much, much more. Lots to talk about. Supreme Court says the Texas maps are in. California governor's race we'll get to in a minute. J6 pipe bomber arrested. Deadly train crash in Ontario. What did the ICE raids are doing? What? That and much, much more. But, as we say, the lead story going in to this, Atlantic's top contender, biggest great white male shark resurfaces near the coast. Go.
Contender, the largest adult male great white shark ever recorded in the Atlantic. Pretty impressive achievement. Well, after a brief disappearance, he was just pinged off the coast of North Carolina. Nearly 14 feet long and over 1,600 pounds, this massive predator was first tagged by OCEARCH, a global nonprofit that tracks ocean life.
So how would you like to come across a 1,600, well, not quite 2 tons, but 1,600 pounds, over 3/4 of a ton, great white shark in the ocean? They tracked him now to South Carolina, into North Carolina. He's one huge dude. They're headed down to Florida for the wintertime, where the waters are warmer, proving that sharks aren't as dumb as they look. Sharks provide a very good environmentally cleaning part of the ocean. So in most cases, they're nothing to be afraid of. They rarely attack humans, but when they do, you usually die. They're so big. Of course, the movie Jaws set that all in motion. What do you get to this one? New California poll came out today. My scenario is working out almost to a T. This is from Emerson College. Now, they trend a little bit left, but they're probably, as Mark Mitchell Rasmussen has said, they're probably the most reliable or honest or close to being at least neutral college poll there is. They just came out with a new California poll with Chad Bianco leading at 13. Eric, who was banging the Fang, the Chinese spy, and more to have on that in a little bit. She's at 12%, along with Steve Hilton, Katie Porter, 11, Antonio Villaraigosa. Also, his real name is Tony Villar Jr., of that former mayor of Los Angeles. Billionaire Tom Steyer at 4. Javier Baccaria, as Joe Biden told us, at 4%. Others at 7. Undecided at 31. So this goes to show the strategy I've been touting for a long time now, and others are finally picking up on it. If we're going to elect a center-right candidate in California, we have the perfect scenario to do it. It's right in front of us. We have the polling, and if anything, this Emerson is going to shade left. Not much. They're not Ipso-ISIS or one of these others, and others that are far off the deep end. And we got that, we're lining up the perfect scenario to do it, just like they did. Just go look up, we went through it a week or so ago, a couple weeks ago. California Senate District 4. The rat showed us how to do it. They lined up two. They only had 2 Democratic candidates. This is a plus 20 Republican registration area. Plus 20. You figure once it's over, top two, the Republican's going to win. He could be Satan the devil. He's going to win. Well, they lined up. They got their candidates, 22%. Actually, Alvarado Gil, who eventually took the seat, another Democrat, got 18%. And the rest of Republicans were 70%, 17% down. Well, with the top two Prop 14 primaries, your choice was two Democrats in a plus 20 Republican district. And it's because there was 5 or 6 Republicans to split up the vote, all under them. Voila. Alvarado Gil now is a Democrat holding a plus 20 Republican Senate seat. When we're down 30 to 40, we only got 10 Republicans. 75% of the legislature, including the Senate, are Democrats. And we gave up a seat. Well, the Democrats are starting to do the same thing in the governor's race in 2026. Are we going to be smart enough to take advantage of this? They don't have, Eric, we'll get into this here in a little bit. Eric Swalwell has problem. No, Fang Fang is not, and the Chinese spy, him dinking the Chinese spy is not his only problem. As Michael Trujillo, the longtime Democrat consultant down here, has pointed out a couple of times today, the long knives are coming. You got Steyer, Tom Steyer, billionaire. He's not afraid to spend the money. You don't think he'll start chopping up? Eric Swalwell's on top. You watch the attack ads start coming out. Guaranteed. And whomever. Katie Porter, all you have to do is have her show up. And she's going to piss everybody off, as she did in her interview, with her arrogant, my S don't stink attitude of that's been long documented on that. So she's not. So and Tony Villar's going to get a percentage, 5%, 6%. Javier Baccaria, Betty Yee, she pulls 3 or 4. All we got to do is get Chad and Steve at 20 and 20, and then hold all the rest of Democrats for 19% and below, and voila. You're in. The choice will be, Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton, 2 Republicans. In a state where Democrats, almost at a 2-to-1 ratio out, register Republicans. We've got the marching orders. We've got the strategy. It's our Hail Mary pass, but it can't. Especially the way the deck chairs are lining up, it can work. It can work in that. Because I can guarantee you in this state, if Prop 50 did not prove this, if it's Chad Bianco versus the spy Swalwell, Psycho Chick Porter, or Tony Villar Jr., or whomever, you're going to lose. Same with Steve Hill. It's darn near impossible right now to elect statewide anybody from the center right in any state office, except in this scenario. Are we going to be smart enough to do it? We'll catch in a little more of the details, some Newsweek articles, some stuff from Mike Trujillo on that here in a bit as we go on with the rest of the show. Yes, we are. It's sometimes, and I wonder, and there a lot of people are laying out the scenario that we can win this deal. Oops, as my mic falls off. Is that? Newsweek had a piece in here, and they were saying the same thing. As you can get to this point, you can win. Republicans' chance. When is the last time you seen this headline that actually meant something? Republicans' chance of flipping a seat in the California governor's office. Newsweek hardly ever gets to this point. But you see what's to know. It comes, another negative polling for Democrats. A September Zogby Strategies poll of 1,000 likely voters found that when campaign messaging is taken into account, Hilton received 29% vote share, while Porter garnered 23%. A further 23% said they were undecided. So that's laying the scenario up where you can win in California, provided we have, and why did that go blank? See if that comes back. Oh, I love this stuff. Well, at least I got part of me in. Why you incarnations are fitting this. So you hit the wrong button and that's what goes on. You get to this ridiculous point where people have had enough in California. They're really looking to go a different direction. I believe 50 showed they don't. What the problem is I don't think they trust the center right. Now, that could be for a lot of factors, but it's for us to give them that opportunity. Like I said, all we need is to get Steve and Chad to split the vote evenly, be in the top two, and then it's Katie bar the door. The second effect of that is they will change the Democrats. If that happens on June 5th or whenever the primary is, or whenever they certify the election, at 8 o'clock in the morning, they will put on the ballot, the Democrats will put on the ballot to repeal Prop 14 in the top two immediately. And they will spend whatever it takes. And again, they showed us how to do this stuff. Which is absolutely incredible. Some of the breaking news, more on the campaign, the dirt is getting ready to fly in this scenario. And we got these tweets this morning from Michael Trujillo. Now, if you're not in the inside of politics, you probably have no idea who this is. He's a Democratic consultant down in L.A. He's been there. He started with Villaraigosa, or in that time. He's been close with, I don't know if he's working on Tony Villar or Antonio Villaraigosa's campaign now, but he was one of the main cogs in Team Antonio down there when he was mayor and getting him elected. So he has this breaking news, as they say, on tap. Bonta is really trying to move mountains so he can run for governor, but getting California Teachers Association, SAIU, to commit to him isn't easy. He's finding SAIU, the whole endorsement process, they're rightfully deeply invested in. Bonta wasn't a part of it, so what's going on with them? For CTA, they need to do their own polling, which isn't a fast thing to figure out, plus their endorsement process for some. From now, the announcement will go this week. Bonta has more levers to pull backstage, but this gives the potential AG candidate a tad more time to get the teams hired up. So Michael Trujillo seems to think Bonta, especially if he gets California Teachers Association endorsement, that he might jump back in the governor's race. We'll see what is going to crop up with that in the reporting from C.C. Woods. But the other stuff that's coming up, I guess Swalwell kind of enjoyed today, according to Mike Trujillo, his second place in the Emerson College poll. But folks know he has slept with many of his interns while married. Of course, this is the allegation made by Mike Trujillo. Sexually harassed others while engaged, has a ton of weird texts late at night saved on former interns' phones. Still, he will have to answer for his later on during the campaign, right? Endorse at your own peril. Have been, I don't know, it's probably you. You have been fully warned, just doing my public service today. Michael Trujillo again writes, making the rounds of mourning as A.G. Bonner jumps in the governor's race. It allows Los Angeles D.A. Hockman, a former AG candidate himself, to enter the race with name ID and the only politician the LA countywide race knows. So there's some juicy details. Of course, you got to have the sex scandal. And obviously the bang the fang on Swalwell and the Chinese spy thing, allegations have been on a long time. The interns has been a new one, or hasn't been widely spread yet until Michael Trujillo put that out today. So the governor's race in California is definitely heating up. The Rob Bonner is the big wild card today in this. Of course, at first he announced he was running for governor. Then all of a sudden he pulled it back and said, I'm going to stay AG. Then the whole thing of spending the $500,000 when we'll get with CC when she comes on, and she's got more info on that. When that comes in. Then now he's talking about, I'm going to jump back in the race, possibly, or making noise. It's 100,000% ridiculous, it would seem. That every major California candidate for governor has big skeletons in the closet. Katie Porter treating everybody like S. Rob Bonner with this corruption thing going on up to his eyeballs in it. Eric Swalwell, not only with the Chinese spy thing, if the intern thing seems to gain traction. Tom Steyer, the billionaire, he's just a kook. And I don't know if Villar, he's 70 years old. He's getting a little long in the tooth to be doing this. And he has his whole record out there. Betty Yee's just a dunce. But this is great. It will pull this strategy I've been talking about for 6 months now. Ever since it became pretty clear the only two center-right candidates were going to be Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco. The strategy, the only strategy that works that I can come up with, and I think you're delusional, and I'll give anybody the case to come in and make their case think to prove me wrong. Split the vote. Chad and Steve don't need to be hollering each other. Their supporters don't. Just if you got a husband and wife, they're voting. One votes for Chad, one votes for Steve. Your family members divided up. Just make sure that we're getting the vote as evenly split between Chad and Steve, and hope we can hold the rest. If we hold the rest of them below their percentage, which is definitely possible in this scenario, when you got 5, 6, 7 candidates. And what if Tom Steyer? He's got billions of dollars. He could dump $100 million into this thing. And you don't think he's going to, if Swalwell is, who's ever on top, if Swalwell runs on top, all the stuff's coming out. If Bonna's on top, of course, there's plenty of information on that. Or Katie Porter. So I think I'm more optimistic as time rolls on. Now, that's provided it stays pretty much as it is. Rick Caruso getting in could roll this into a different scenario. I think he's got, obviously, running for LA mayor and losing to Best, but he's got a lot of name recognition, and he could drop $100 million easily in the primary, like Tom Steyer could. But again, it's getting late in the game. I think by February you got to make a decision, and then you only got 3 months to put a campaign together for governor. It's not impossible, but for a guy like Rick Caruso, if he doesn't jump in here by the first of the year, I don't see it happening. And anybody else of stature. So like I say, as we're sitting here today, this is a strategy that can work. We actually got a fighting chance. Even on some of the issues that are going on. On top of that, into some other news of the day, we have, as they say, Supreme Court allows Texas to use redrawn congressional map that favors Republicans. So that will at least counter if Prop 50 stands. Now, Texas was court ordered to redo the map under the scenario of, hey, it's ridiculous, you cannot have the system of using racial quotas or profiling to do districts. If they can prove the case, like there seems to be plenty of evidence of it, there is, the Mark Moyser case or Dylan Law Group, and there's another one that just filed on the same grounds, and that if they can prove the California map was drawn on racial lines, it might be thrown out. Well, the Texas map stays. That will really send Newsom and the crew into a tizzy. So we got a lot of scenarios rolling on here that are, once again, working in our favor. And again, you never want to count anything because, as they say, politics and everything in it can change in a heartbeat. But we're really at one of those points where we can pull a rabbit out of the hat. Another thing that happened today was FBI made an arrest of Brian Cole as the pipe bomber, or the alleged pipe bomber, in the J6 deal. According to reports, meet Brian Cole, the far-right white supremacist extremist who planted the J6 pipe bombs. I didn't hit the cough button again. He has ties to Antifa. His entire family is staunchly anti-Trump. It's a real shock why Ray never caught him. So that whole intrigue will be played out. So there was an arrest made on that. So we'll see how that goes. Channel 7 is going to have a report on the ICE raid.
Number of ICE raids across Southern California up.
And if we can get it to, we want to go to full screen first before we flip the switch. Number of ICE raids and what they are potentially causing. And I'm going to say this is what we elected Trump to do.
down.
Kids show up to school and they're worried.
Thousands of students missing from class. Could they be gone for good?
We want to quell fears parents and children have.
7 on Your Side investigates fleeing families, the ice raid fallout today.
So, the scenario is the ice raids are accomplishing what they were set out to do. And hopefully we'll do that. I'll be curious to see what the plan has, or what the report says, and maybe we'll have it on
50 seconds.
tomorrow. As Jesse said, we'll be joining the Mighty Met
At 5.
KMET here in a few seconds. We will roll on. Hopefully CC Woods will be calling in, and we'll get to all of her reporting on the California corruption and things coming in. It will definitely be something to look forward to, so we'll see how that intrigue rolls out. Been a fun day today so far, as usual, on a Thursday. Also in Ontario, a collision with a train killed a conductor, so that was another big story that was out there.
5 seconds. Here we go.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky side guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5 at Eagle P Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out. Subscribe. Type in iNewsWire on all the platforms, or Roy Blecker. You'll find my bright and smiling face on that. More news, more polling coming out showing my scenario of getting Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton in the top 2 so we can elect a center-right governor in the state of California is definitely shaping up to being possible with the new Emerson College poll coming out. The Cottage A6 pipe bomber arrest today. Oh, he looks like a white hillbilly. No, he's has ties to Antifa, anti-Trump. Who would have guessed that? It's been one heck of a day of reporting. Of course, Contender, the almost 1-ton shark, has been spotted. You can track him and stuff. Check us out in the first part of the show. It's one of
CC is on the line.
one of the stuff that we have. And you roll this stuff. And, you know, as much as I rail about social media and all the platforms and people spending too much time on it, it's not 100% negative. So I'm going across my X feed and I'm seeing this stuff come up. I'm going, this stuff looks interesting. You know, this chick's reporting on a lot of the corruption that's going on, from Dana the Hammer Williamson to the Bona crime family to Gulag Gavin Newsom to Villanueva, the ex-sheriff getting rousted out, and other people, just the corruption all across the board, from LA to the scoundrels of Sacramento and everywhere in between. So if I'm reading these articles and saying, darn, this chick's doing some really great reporting. Let's see if we get her on. So we found CC Williamson. She is just absolutely fine. You can find her on X. The current report is what she calls her articles on that. CC Williamson, welcome to iNewsWire with Roy.
It's actually CC Woods.
CC Woods.
You got me.
I'm reading the Williamson.
With Dana Williamson.
Yes, I'm looking at the Williamson, Dana Williamson thing. I'm
It's all right. I figured that was a little wire crossing. It's all good.
See how confused I can get? Now I've got it up on my screen where I should have had.
No, it's all
so
good.
I would have read the right name.
CC Woods.
Yes, look. Now I look.
Yes.
Yeah, I made myself look like a complete idiot on that.
No, don't even worry about it, because not to be confused with the one who is under federal investigation.
Yes,
federal indictment.
Dana the Hammer, as I call her, Dana the Hammer Williamson. That's what we'll start with. I want to get to the Rob Bonner stuff next.
Yeah.
Dana the Hammer Williamson. She's out there, and the thing that caught my attention when the story broke on that is she gave up that, oh, I'm not the target of this. They said Gavin Newsom was, and they tried to get me to wear a wire, yada, yada, yada. Then all the indictments came out, McCluskey with Becerra's thing or stuff. That right there is ringing big alarm bells of that. Now, my contention is, and maybe you know, take and run with it one way or disprove it or say, hey, you're out in the field on this. My contention is the arrest on her and this whole thing that broke out with McCluskey on the Becerra thing is they were putting, the others caved, but Williamson, the Hammer, is not. So they'll probably say, okay, now we'll indict you. Now we'll put the pressure on you. Are you going to turn the evidence that most everybody seems to suspect is out there, but nobody's been able to crack on Gavin Newsom? I think that's where the whole target of this thing with the bonus and everything. But am I out in left field or am I on the right track?
I don't think you're out in left field. However, my instincts tell me that it's to take her to target her, to take Newsom down, to me is, I don't know, I feel like it's just not a strong strategy. And the reason why I think it's not a strong strategy is because I've watched other cases like Diana Turan in LA County. There were 11 felony counts that she was charged with, and this was within LA County and the DA's office, et cetera. So it wasn't a federal case, but I don't know who I still to this day don't know who their target was. And I mean, it's obvious that Dana's target would be Newsom, but it seems like if they had anything on Newsom, or if he was the target, I don't think they would go after her. I just don't. So I'm in the dark on this one. But that doesn't mean that other things aren't going to come out. The article that I did obviously showed the GoFundMe and how one of Newsom's top people was donating to that and helped set it up and blah, blah, blah. I don't even understand how she would need a GoFundMe if she is being employed by Newsom. She's got to have a pretty good salary, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's.
That's it. The GoFundMe does not make any sense to me. None whatsoever.
All of it. The whole scenario.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And any federal indictments. Sorry to interrupt. Any federal indictments that are happening are now like, okay, who's in charge of the investigation? I was on the John Phillips show on Tuesday, and they were asking me about this, and I said, look, if the federal investigators are Biden era, nothing's going to happen to this woman. Unless they need a sacrificial lamb. If they are Trump era investigators, she's going down. They'll find some and usually the feds don't go after people they don't have something on for sure. They just don't take that chance. So, I'm kind of confused about what's happening right now, honestly.
The whole thing with the activation seems to be a lot of the name that's come up in this. The behest payments between wifey Jennifer and all this stuff of her nonprofit getting millions of dollars of this and stuff, and Gavin Newsom running all over the place of this, that, and the other, and it runs it again. There seems to be and the thing of it is these money cases are very complicated. in most cases,
Right.
except the Becerra
Oh
one,
yeah, they
which,
are for
you know,
sure.
was with that. I mean, that was fairly easy to track. But if they're doing all these other campaign contributions and pay to play and all this other stuff, it takes a long time to do that. My contention was, and I've
Right.
seen this scenario work a lot of time, they probably wanted, and you don't know. I still suspect Bono might be the one. They might be, the way he's acting, he might be wearing a
Yeah,
wire.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
what I'm
I
saying is,
agree with that.
I think they might have put the pressure on the Hammer, and maybe they got to her, or she's trying to protect him, because, like I say, everybody else looks like they're folding in this thing except her. And I don't know. I mean, I could be
But
out on.
but how about how many people are folding? As look at how many people are under investigation in
Yes.
Sacramento.
No, I mean,
it's
that's
crazy.
here, and we'll get into the Bono crime family here of that, and all the contributions with the dongs, and him getting, him being the assemblyman, then getting appointed by Newsom to AG, and then his wife Mia gets in there, and the whole dongs thing's coming up, that, and the money's flowing around. Bono and what really tipped me and what really got me onto this was the Ashley Zavala interview up there that Bono did.
Right.
And he there is absolutely no explanation. He did not give no explanation, because nobody I've talked to or heard in the legal system anywhere has heard of anybody who was a witness or giving evidence that had to spend $500,000 on lawyers to do that. So
No. You have to be accused of murder and have a crap ton of money in order to spend at minimum $500,000 or more. But not this. Like, you're not he's victims and witnesses don't shell out money for a criminal attorney ever. Okay? They don't even need representation if they're a witness or whistleblowers, whatever. They don't need that. Why would he need an attorney if he's a witness?
Exactly. I've been deposed or a witness or doing that
Or a
on
victim,
cases like
or a witness.
Yeah,
you don't need representation for that.
Yeah, I never had I didn't even have a lawyer or anything going in. You just give the testimony, or they ask you questions and that. And then if it doesn't get settled in the court, you might have to go in there and testify. If you're not part of the case or a target in the investigation, or they're threatening to charge you, nobody spends a penny, especially at the rate lawyers are today. Nobody spends a penny doing that. So he did himself a much disservice, in my opinion, going on with Zavala on that, because in this case scenario, you better have a good reason why that's why I say I wouldn't doubt that either these guys, like the others, McCluskey and the others, Greg Campbell, I think his name is, and the others that have cut a deal on this.
Right.
Rob Bono sounds like a guy to me that has cut a deal. Or either he's turned evidence or something.
Well, we don't know that yet. I mean, to spend $500,000 on a criminal attorney, I mean, I don't know. The feds don't make deals. So this is not a local criminal case, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Feds don't make deals. They really don't. If they're going after you, they want you going down, like 100%. So, I mean, when it comes to these big political figures, are they gonna use some pawns in the game? Of course they are. However, I just usually when federal indictments come down, they're big. There's it's not really to get to somebody else. When I look at all the federal indictments that have come down on LA City Council members, and there have been quite a few that have gone down, the people they're targeting are the ones that they want to put away behind bars. And I've never seen them take down one person or attempt to take down one person to get to another. And I honestly think, again, unless we know if these investigators are Biden era or if they're Trump era, that makes a huge difference. And the reason why I say that is because, I mean, it's obvious why I would be saying that. However, we had a deputy in Los Angeles County. His name is Trevor Kirk, and he and his partner were called to a robbery in progress at a grocery store in Lancaster. He's responding from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to a robbery in progress. They gave them the descriptions of the suspects. They get there. It's a black female and a black male, and the female is resisting arrest and turns her phone on the deputy. And the deputy basically said, I have to arrest you for assault and robbery. And she's resisting arrest, saying, you can't touch me. He takes her down with the use of force, very minimal, and used pepper spray. Well, the Los Angeles County Sheriff, Robert Luna, walked that case over to the feds to indict him for civil rights abuse when this woman was assaulting people and accused of robbery by the grocery store. So I'm telling you, when the feds want you, they're going to take you down. He was facing 10 years in prison for doing his job, and that was under Biden-era investigators. When Bill Asaley came in, Trump appointee, that things started turning around real quick. So it just depends what happens. It depends on who's running the investigation, Biden or Trump. Make sense?
And Asaley's down here Central and Southern California, and it's a different slips my name, the guy that's
Love him. Love Bill Asaley. Love him.
So the guy that's running the U.S. Attorney's Office up in Northern California is, and I'm assuming at this point he's a Trump appointee.
Hope he. Because if he is...
Yes. That's what we need to run down. Yeah. That's your next assignment.
Then we're in good shape. If that's the case, then we're in good shape that people are going to start going down. Now, with this young deputy who was facing 10 years when Bill Asaley came in, he basically started saying this is absolutely insane, this egregious, that a deputy who was doing his job should be facing civil rights abuse for, a level 1 use of force, which is pepper spray. He didn't point a gun in anybody's face. So Asaley was able to negotiate, but during that time, and he shouldn't have even had to negotiate, but during that time, those Biden-era prosecutors that were involved in this case were so pissed off that Bill Asaley came in and started cleaning house that they walked off and they said, we're done, we're out of here. So it was a bunch of drama with these Biden-era that just wanted to see this kid, this young military vet doing his job this grocery store is calling the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for help. He shows up and he ends up facing 10 years in prison. What the hell is that? So, again, if that Northern California U.S. attorney is Trump era, then we're looking good.
And that's what's weird about the whole Dana Hammer Williamson Baccaria case is that started in 22 under the Biden administration. You would figure they would have been burying that as usual, like you say, when they're as political prosecutions or letting the corruption go one way or depending on where they want it to go. That's what's so unusual about the Northern California case to me is that all started.
Yeah.
Why was Gavin Newsom a target under the Biden administration's Justice Department? What the hell were they looking for? That, I think, is the key to this whole thing.
Oh, I agree with you. And I'm telling you right now, just seeing how things are, how things transpire in LA County politics with how corrupt the Democratic Party, the LA Democrats, any and every politician that is a Democrat in LA County is 99.9% of them are so corrupt.
I gotta correct you on
and they
that.
all protect each other. What?
It's 100. They are 111% corrupt.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
okay, and I'll agree with you on that one. And never mind the fact that we've had stolen elections since, I think, 2018 was the last time that we did not have a potential stolen election. And that is the election that former Sheriff Alex Villanueva squeaked by and won against Jim McDonnell. And the LA County Board of Supervisors, they lost their you-know-what because they did not expect Alex to win. And, the Woolsey fire happened at that time, and I've spent 20 years in Malibu, and I'm no longer in Malibu because I just can't do wildfires anymore. I can't do it. So during the Woolsey fire, Alex came out and talked to the troops, and they were still counting votes. And when he won, I'm telling you, all hell broke loose in LA County. From the get-go, he had a target on his back. I just put out a new article today about that, about how they put a coalition together. And Bonta, during the Sheila Kuehl investigation, was taking donations from a PAC that was literally focused on taking the sheriff down. I mean, you want to talk about a conflict of interest? Holy crap. I mean, it's just insane. It's insane what goes on in LA County and the state of California.
It's just a microcosm of that. Hopefully we can get to you next week because we're just about out of time. But hopefully we can dig in.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll dig into the Alex Villanueva suit. Because when he first got elected, I was a little bit shaky on him. But then when he come in and start cleaning out the vagrants and doing that and really doing that,
Yeah.
I figured that. And then the people of LA voted in Robert Looney Tunes, Luna as I call him.
Oh, my gosh, don't get me started on that man.
Yes,
Oh,
we'll have fun with that, I guarantee you, because Looney
Okay,
Tunes
I'm happy to come on next week. Whenever you need me, I'm always available.
You got it. We'll schedule that, and hopefully you'll have some more stuff out, and I'll read your piece you put up
Oh,
today.
yeah, I'll
But
have plenty.
that whole thing deserves a segment in of itself because that one runs deep. Thanks for being on, CC. We'll try and get you on again next
No
week.
problem. Thank you so much, Roy. Okay,
You got it.
Bye.
I'll get the name right. CC Woods, investigative reporter who's doing a great job, a bang-up job at what's been going on here in the corruption all across the state, from sea to shine, from coast to coast, sea to shining sea. I was trying to do the Jerry Dunphy thing, but I blew that line, all that. The good thing is most people listening don't even know who Jerry Dunphy was. He's a long time news reporter out here. Probably the second longest running one besides George Putnam of that. And little known fact, he was the father-in-law of Mike Curb, our lieutenant governor, and the guy who's got the record company, and part of Agajanian and Curb Racers and all that stuff. But no, this stuff is running deep. The election fraud, and just from my contention, when CC comes back, we'll bat this around hopefully a little bit. The election fraud was going that. I think the reason Villanueva won the sheriff's race in 2016 is he actually outvoted the fraud, like Trump did in 2016, which evidence is coming in of that against Hillary Clinton. Is they were trying to crook it, but it was the vote was so big they could not hold it back. And I think that's kind of what happened in the Villanueva sheriff election in 2018 or 16 or whenever it was in there of that. But that's a whole story. LA, and this is the thing. And I've said this, just like I said, don't let the cancer of California spread across the other 49 states. Do not let what my big thing and why, even though we're out here in the Inland Empire, why I focus on LA is a lot of people. The biggest migration into the Inland Empire that's come in the last 10 years are people from LA County. And I don't want to see that cancer over there run in our region and take us down the path that LA is doing. Again, I was a little shaky of Villanueva because he was like supporting the illegal immigration thing and all that, and he kind of backed up on that. But then he took a really aggressive stance on the vagrants and cleaning up the corruption and stuff, and the machine said no. And then they put Robert Looney Tunes in there, and now they're back down to the same old corrupt standards and scenarios and tactics that has been going down there for eons. And it's what's ruined LA, and it's what's ruined San Francisco. Two of the biggest tourist destinations in the world. Now people don't even want to come to either because it's such an S-hole up there. At least San Francisco somewhat is trying to turn it around with Dan Lurie and Mayor of San Francisco, and Matt Mahan in San Jose, and they recalled the school board there in San Francisco and a few things. Oakland recalled their mayor Shang Tao, which is cooked up in the whole Bono mix, and they got rid of Pamela Price, the DA, and Chelsea Bodine, the Soros-led DAs and things like that. San Francisco is really trying, or at least trying to turn around some of the BS that's been going on up there. LA is still 111 times dumpster fire. And that being that they are 25% of the 10 million, approximately, of the 40 million in California, LA County alone is 25% of the state. So they can basically dictate, and in most cases they dictate a lot of the way between there and San Francisco basically dictates the way our politics have gone. And as their politics has swung severely to the right, severely to the left, you've seen the way the state goes, and we can't elect statewide, center-right, freedom and liberty types. We got that chance today. We got more information from Emerson College that shows us that this is possible. We just got to execute. And stop, and I know the Chad fans or the Steve Hilton fans, and you want your guy to win, yada, yada, yada. First, you have to put them in a position to win. And the only way you put them in a position to win is if it's Steve and Chad on the ballot in November of 2026. And we got the storm, the perfect storm, to pull this off. We can be the underdog. We can be the David that has a slingshot and takes down Goliath. Do we have the sharps enough, the guts enough, and the will enough to do it? Time will tell. I hope there's enough folks left that are willing to get into the game, as they say. That'll do it for today. As we usually say at this time, mandatory you're back here in 23 hours. Why? On this Practice Friday. Hear the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya!
All right. Have a great night.
You got it. Uh, Okay, so this is good. did you fucking switch over there? God damn it. There's fucking side guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live 5, the Wolfie Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe.
So, I mean, when it comes to these big political figures, you buy the grocery store. So I'm telling you, when the Fed's 10 years in prison, what the hell is that? So, again, if that say about that, about how they put a coalition together and
What my big thing and why, even though we're percent of the state, so they can basically dictate, and in most cases they dictate a lot of the way the between there and San Francisco basically dictates the way our politics have gone. And as their politics shot and takes down Goliath, do we have the sharps enough?
Ryan Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction. Ryan Cole Jr.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can bloviate as much as you want in Washington, D.C., but at the end of the day, it's the American people who make the ultimate decision at the ballot box like they did last month in Virginia, in New Jersey. And this is what it's all about, baby. Google searches for affordability up 110% versus a year ago. More folks searched for affordability in the last month than at any point since the Great Recession, all the way back in 2009. This is no con job. This is the American people going online, searching for affordability. It's the American people going to the ballot box, voting on affordability. They think it is an important issue to touch on. Donald Trump might want to make the argument it's a con job, but the American people don't think so.
When it comes to things like high prices, I mean, what is the top issue that Americans say they are facing, bar none?
Yeah, you named it. You named it. I mean, ta-da! It's the cost of living, most important to you right now, 36%. What's right behind it? The economy, 20%. And then I combined here healthcare or Medicare and Social Security right down there, number 3, 17%. What do these all have in common? It's do-re-mi. It's all about the economy, spending, cost of living, entitlements. all about being able to afford things. That's what we're talking about, Sarah Seidner. This is the name of the game. It was the name of the game last month, and it is very likely to be the name of the game come 11 months from now in the election. And it's not the Democrats making up, it's the American people that the Democrats are following. And if Donald Trump and the Republicans don't start following the American people, well, you get results like you did last month in Virginia and New Jersey, and that is Republicans losing by double digits in races that they thought would be considerably closer, especially in New Jersey.
Look, it was the name of the game in the presidential election.
Yeah,
right?
Sarah.
I mean, I had to bring that up.
Beautiful.
That is part of this. So when you look at this, what is sort of, there are lots of things. People back then, it was eggs, it was groceries, and people were really frustrated. But there is so much more to what the cost of living is and how it affects us.
That's exactly right. You know, we think of cost of living, we think of groceries, but it's also about housing, affordable housing. We saw that last month in the New York City mayoral election, and it was something that we saw in the 2024 presidential election as well. Good affordable housing, satisfied with access to it. You know, you look back a decade ago, it was 69%. 59%. We're going down the slide here in 2019. Look at where we were last year when Donald Trump won another term, all the way down to 36%. That's a 33-point drop in just a decade of time. Affordable housing is such a key component to this. It is such a key component. And Donald Trump won on affordability, even if he didn't use that word. He won on affordability. He won on the cost of living in 2024. And he has completely lost the plot. And it's not just about groceries. It is also about people putting a roof over their heads. And that is going to be a big issue in my mind going in to 2026, because it was a big issue in Tennessee 7 as well. It's going to be a very big issue. When all of a sudden you see falls like this from 69 to 36, that is a siren. That is a flashing red siren. If politicians don't follow it, they're going to be in big trouble with the American people.
It's a big deal, partly, too, because this
fraud and conspiracy to defraud the United States government. Our KCRA 3 political director Ashley Zavala has been all over this and was inside the courtroom today and tried to talk to him afterwards. Ashley joins us now with what he had to say. Ash.
Well, Lisa, the only words we heard Greg Campbell speak today were, "Yes, Your Honor," as he pleaded guilty to those 2 federal charges, which are felonies. Campbell has been lobbying on behalf of some of the biggest companies at the state capitol, like Amazon and Major League Baseball, just to name 2. Campbell today followed through on a plea agreement he had with federal prosecutors for his role in this political scandal. Investigators say Campbell helped organize a scheme to take $225,000 from an inactive campaign account of former Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra and funnel that money to a personal account of Becerra's longtime former aide, Sean McCluskey. That is the conspiracy to commit wire and bank fraud charge. Separate from that, investigators say Campbell also helped falsify documents for Governor Gavin Newsom's ex-chief of staff, Dana Williamson, who you see here on camera, as she was being investigated for taking COVID-19 era small business loans. That is the conspiracy to defraud the United States government charge. So after court today, Campbell's attorney did speak briefly. I also tried repeatedly asking Campbell if he is still lobbying and providing political consulting services in the state.
Today, Mr. Campbell, fully accepted responsibility for his actions, although neither Mr. Campbell nor his lobbying firm received any benefits, financial or otherwise, with respect to the charged conduct. Mr. Campbell has accepted the consequences of the plea. Throughout his life, including in business and as a public servant, Mr. Campbell will remain focused on his family and making positive contributions to the community. Mr. Campbell is deeply grateful for support from his family and friends during these difficult times. Mr. Campbell greatly respects the role of the press, especially now, but Mr. Campbell will not be making any further comments at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Campbell, are you still lobbying or politically consulting here in Sacramento? I know you told your friends and family that that was an operation that you planned to shut down. I just didn't know if that had happened yet. The collaborative, I know you mentioned to your friends, family, clients that that was something you were going to work to dissolve. I don't know, have you started that process yet?
Mr. Campbell, any comment? Mr. Campbell, any comment?
Mr. Campbell, do you have anything to say to Javier Becerra? Any comment to Dana Williamson, who will be in court next week? Mr. Campbell, anything you want to publicly say to your clients? You represented a lot of big names at the California State Capitol. Campbell's next court date. Sentence for those two large companies. The maximum sentence for those two charges that Campbell faces are a total of up to 10 years in prison and $500,000 in fines. In the courtroom today, though, prosecutors said they would recommend the lower end of that with that plea agreement in place. Campbell's next court date in Sacramento is on February 26th.
Okay, so how is Javier Becerra, whose funds were stolen, reacting to today's plea?
Right. Well, this is the second guilty plea we're seeing in this case. Last month, Becerra's longtime chief of staff, Sean McCluskey, said also pleaded guilty to one charge there for his involvement in the scheme. Every day since November 13th, after the indictments were made public, I have been asking Becerra for an interview. While he and his campaign have for weeks been saying they want to find a time, they have yet to offer anything specific. After ignoring most of my requests this week, his campaign spokesperson said they wouldn't be available to make it work this week again. That was a follow-up after with Campbell being in court that pushed them to at least give me a response today, but we'll keep trying.
So that thread's still to pull, and also you said Williamson.
Williamson is back in court December 11th, first thing in the morning, a week from today.
All right. Thanks, Ash.
What do Smarty Pants vitamins mean for your kid?
Hi, everybody. Here we are, reporting from the Kenny Wallace Show. This is a big deal, folks. This is a big deal. And what I want to tell you is, or what I want to talk to you about is the end results. What are the end results? I mean, all the guys, all the reporters line up with the checkered flag drops. Are we where we want to be? Did we get there to ship and maybe come out of this thing better off than they were? But it's going to take some very, 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 very tough decisions on NASCAR's part to make that happen. Status quo, they've taken some big hits, big hits. Now, as soon as that is the case, they will appeal this thing.
balls, balls, balls. Mm. Come on. Gee.